The #1 seed in the East. The Pacers have it. The Heat won it.
LeBron, yes! And here he comes. Fouled by Stevenson. It counts!
We begin in Miami for the regular season finale between the Heat and Pacers, who won 2 of the first 3 meetings. Now, Dwayne Wade was not in the game, missed his 9th straight with a hamstring injury that was suffered in the last matchup against Indiana, while the Pacers starters were back to work after being benched on Wednesday. So we are off to Miami, and Indy's reserves won at Milwaukee to take a half-game lead over the Miami Heat. LeBron and the guys lost to the Grizzlies on Wednesday, and LeBron came out hot. He had 14 points in the first quarter.
Real aggressive, Rick. You can see going right down to the block, and Mario Chalmers penetrating. He knocked down this 3. He got the Miami Heat off to a good start.
The Heat were up 12-11 after that, Jay, from LBJ. Then it's Lance Stevenson to David West.
Yeah, that's what he does. 15 to 18 foot, you can count it.
Indy led by 5. That was their largest lead of the game. Paul George for 3 made it a 1-point game, but Miami led by 3 at the break.
Paul George knocks down some shots in that first half. The Pacers and Paul George, they were going toe-to-toe with the Heat and LeBron, and then the third quarter happened. Turnovers, some rebounds where they got out on the break, they got their rhythm, and you can see the strength of LeBron James out on the break, and he's showing off his biceps.
Was he showing those to Lance Stevenson?
Here he's about to show it to Paul George. Give him a shoulder as well. You got UD following up with the putback.
Udonis Haslem had 11 points and 9 rebounds. Frank Vogel arguing, not happy, because he's watching his team get outscored 31-20 in the third quarter. LeBron along 2. Then George Hill turns it over. Tony Douglas, starting for Dwayne Wade, is going to score.
Good job of Mario pushing it up, and you have Tony Douglas who takes the basketball right to the bucket. Give Chris Bosh a lot of credit. He ran the floor as well.
How about a 20-2 run to start the third quarter? We go to the fourth now. It was Pacer time, and the reserves bring them back on a 13-0 run to get within 9.
Yeah, C.J. Watson, Scola, they're picking it up while the starters struggled a little bit. The second unit came in and gave them a lift.
Turnover's a big story in this game for Indy. More on that in a moment, but LeBron James finishes. Miami back up 18, and the party was on in Miami.
Yeah, they started to pull away, and you can see LeBron. Big-time move. He had his mind set. He wasn't going to be too much of a facilitator. I was going to come out. He was going to come out and score that basketball.
LeBron had 36, and the Heat win 98-86. So the Heat even the season series with the Pacers at 2-2 and snap a 2-game losing streak in the process as they improved to 54-25. The Pacers 54-26. The home team has won 9 straight regular season games in this series, and after starting the season at 46-13, the Pacers are 8-13 since. Matt Weiner was in Miami for the game, and he filed this report.
In their 13 previous matchups over the last 2 seasons, the average margin of victory between the Pacers and the Heat was just over a point per game. This looked like another one of those, with Indy down just a point in the final second before halftime. But Chris Bosh hit 2 free throws, starting an 18-0 run. Between turnovers and single-shot possessions, the Pacers played right into the fast break-minded Heat's hands, and Miami literally ran away with the game.
They imposed their will, as far as bringing pressure. But we had the right mindset of moving it, sharing the ball. We just didn't complete the passes to them.
All the runouts, particularly in the third quarter, was the big difference. The third quarter was too much for us to overcome. We missed some good looks, or we turned it over, and they were running out on every single play. They just, you could tell LeBron had the mindset that he was just going to become a one-man break.
Once we dig ourselves a hole like we did, we got to start playing a little bit more up-tempo to try to cut the lead down a little bit. So pounding it into the post takes a little bit of time, and we need quick buckets.
It is what it is. We haven't played well enough to be the top seed. Again, we get what we deserve, I guess.
Now the Pacers not only don't control the top seed in the Eastern Conference, they're trying to find the footing that led them to first place for most of the season. Indiana may very well end up returning here for the Eastern Conference Finals, but for now, with just 3 games left in the regular season, they're simply a team that's 8-13 over its last 21 games. I'm Matt Weiner in Miami.
All right, Matt, thank you. It's time for Never Stop, Never Settle, presented by Hennessy, as we look closer at the third quarter in the surge by Miami. They were a +11 in the quarter and a +11 in fast break points.
That was the difference, the fast break points and points in the paint, 14 for the Miami Heat. You know, second chance points, 6-0 stack. This third quarter, they just imposed their will on the Pacers.
Yeah, they just, turned the pressure up. That's what it was with them, and it forced them into turnovers. And you can't turn the ball over against. You can't have 16 turnovers against the Miami Heat. They're just too good. They're not even full strength. Dwayne Wade wasn't out on the break running with LeBron, but he was out. He was setting the tone. He hit jumpers early. He pushed it, forced the issue, and a runaway win for him.
LeBron James may not win MVP this year, but he wanted to win this game.
No, he's okay. He got a lot of those. He got a lot of iron, but he wanted to come out.
4 of them?
4 of them.
He can spare one.
He can spare one, but his mindset was tremendous tonight. To come off, to get this team off to a good start. You didn't have his sidekick. A guy could take some pressure off of him. So he said, let me go set the tone. And he did that at the beginning of the game, and I think also in that third quarter. Obviously, he played well throughout the game, but those moments was big for the Miami Heat, gained confidence for the guys around him.
Stack, what impressed you most about your former teammate?
Well, I mean, just attack. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Sometimes he's comfortable just, letting other guys, when he has Ray Allen making shots and you have Dwayne going, he's content and just being a facilitator and getting everybody involved. But when the pressure's on and he he really needs a win, he puts his head down and he forced the issue, and he did that tonight, and that's the reason that they were able to win this game.
Roy Hibbert really struggled, had 5 points, 1 rebound. That's a career low in a game that he played 30 or more minutes. What did the Heat do to Hibbert in this one?
Well, I think, what you watch Roy Hibbert play against Udonis Haslem, they're playing him small. There's no Greg Oden. But as we watch a couple of these plays, I wanted to go back in time. December 10th, 2013, Chris Bosh, you got to fight him, and you can see where he's catching the basketball. Roy did an excellent job. George Hill also, the entry pass is huge. Got it right to him. He goes down and scored. No help from the Miami Heat. Now we fast forward to March 26th. Now you can see a little bit off the block, but he's still working against Greg Oden, feeling comfortable. Nobody comes down. You don't dig it out. He goes through his move. Fast forward a little bit more. In this game, in March 26th, the last meeting, you see the pressure of Udonis Haslem and Tony Douglas not being able to get him the basketball, and that forces him off the block. Highlight the paint because this is where he's catching it. This is 6'7" Udonis Haslem. Excellent job getting underneath him, and he bails him out with a fadeaway jump shot with no chance. Same thing with Chris Bosh. Friday, tonight's game, Roy Hibbert has to get close enough to the paint. If you're going well, you can take some of these shots, but you got to establish yourself first right down there in the block.
Roy Hibbert, 24 points and 21 points in the 2 wins for Indiana in this head-to-head series, 6 and 5 in terms of scoring in the losses. Now, Stack, turnovers were an issue, as we mentioned during the highlights. 16 turns led to 20 Miami points. Was it sloppy play by Indiana or Miami pressuring them into those turnovers?
Well, I mean, you look at, George Hill's stat tonight. I don't know where he was tonight. I mean, he didn't even take a shot, didn't get to the free throw line. And, he was only accounted for 2 turnovers. But when your point guard is coming out and he's not being aggressive, that forces other people to have to try to make plays that aren't really accustomed to making plays. And here, they're just throwing the ball away. And when you do that, you ignite this fast break for the Miami Heat. And, it had too many of them in the third quarter, and they were just able to pull away, and it really wasn't a game after that.
In the last 2 meetings, Indy has turned it over 35 times, leading to 46 points by the Miami Heat. That's been a big problem for Indy. As we take a look at both teams' schedules down the stretch, again, the Heat lead by a half game. Smitty, 2 left for the Pacers, 3 left for the Heat. Did the Heat win the East here on Friday night?
Well, they gave themselves a good chance and a nice little cushion. Also they sent a message to the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, the Pacers have to go through OKC and Orlando, and the Heat, road is not that easy as well. Atlanta and Washington, they're still playing for something. Probably you can mark that win against Philadelphia.
Now, keep in mind, Miami has to finish 1 game ahead of Indiana to win the East. Indiana has a better conference record. And we are back with a look inside the box of the Heat's 12-point win over the Pacers, which is a bit ironic from the Indy perspective. They outshot the Heat from the field and from 3-point range, but as you can see, a +9 advantage on the boards for the champs, and they were a +18 in points in the paint. And after the win, Matt Weiner caught up with Chris Bosh.
An emphatic win for the Miami Heat tonight, and we're here with Chris Bosh. Chris, before the game, Eric Spoelstra talked about you guys just getting back to the way you want to play. What do you think you learned tonight?
I think we learned if we just keep it simple, make the correct passes, if we don't turn the ball over, and just play together on defense and make sure we're in the right places at the right time, good things can happen for us.
Roy Hibbert, 1 point, no shots in the first half, really not a factor after so many games where he's caused you guys trouble. What was different tonight?
Well, I mean, I think we found out a way how to better play him. You know, he's an all-star. Some games are going to be good, some games are going to be bad. But for the most part, we can't put him in a position where he's getting easy buckets, especially to start out the first quarter in games. So we wanted to make sure we stayed in between him and the basket whenever possible, and you know, just try to make him take tough shots and limit his dunks and layups.
They had a bunch of turnovers in the second quarter, then you got out running in the second and into the third quarter as well. How much energy do you get from getting out and running as a team?
Well, I mean, it's all about stops. You know, we want to run, but we want to run off defense. Sometimes we get it confused thinking we just play fast. We're still a defensive team no matter what happens. That's our bread and butter. That's going to get us back to where we want to go. So as long as we're playing off stops and we're getting the ball out, not turning it over and getting in our secondary action, good things happen.
Beyond the win and taking over the lead in the Eastern Conference, how much significance does this win carry for you guys against this team?
Well, I mean, it's significant for us. We didn't want to fall down 3-1 to them. Of course, we wanted to protect home court. We felt that we let one slip away last game we played them, but for the most part, they're a good team. We're a good team. We're the best two teams in the East, and when we duke it out, you know, the first seed is on the line, so we're able to gain a full game on them.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot, man.
All right, Chris Bosh with us here in Miami after the win. The Heat now lead the Eastern Conference standings, and we'll send it back to Atlanta.
Matt, thank you very much. The Pacers have prioritized home court advantage throughout the Eastern playoffs all season, and here's why. They're 0-4 all-time in road Game 7s in the Eastern Conference Finals, including last year's loss in Miami. Now, in our pregame show, Smitty was talking about how the others from Miami needed to step up. LeBron with 36, 4 other players on Miami's team in double figures, including Udonis Haslem.
Yeah, I mean, in the NBA, Smitty, you know, we talk about winning plays and winning players. And Udonis Haslem is the gold standard for both. I mean, and he does it by multiple efforts. Here we see him stepping out on the screen, hedging, rotating back to his own man, has a drive there. He helps out on the drive, contests the shot, gets the outlet, doesn't concede anything, still comes on the break. LeBron misses, and there he is to tap it back home. Those are the multiple efforts, the winning plays that he's special at. Here you get trap, got his hands on the ball. This is LeBron James, the best in the game at finishing on the break. Does he concede the layup? No. He comes up, follows it. That's the effort, that's championship effort right there, and that's why he has 3 rings.
Haslem, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, and UD established the Heat record for most offensive rebounds.